Today I was inspired to design something work related. That's electrical work if you didn't know. But it's all revolved around this. It's a box crammer or stomper or shover, or I haven't got the name down yet, but I'm going to take you into Fusion 360 and design something up, and I'm going to print it out on my 3D printer, and I'm going to take it to work and I'm going to test it out. If you want to see what I'm going to do, make sure you watch the rest of this video. Stay tuned. Welcome inside the Mind of Matt. Like I said, today I was at work and I was working on something and something just popped in my head. It's like, hey, I could 3D print that. So what it basically is I'm going to design something. So when you're roughing boxes, once again, if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll demonstrate this on a real live job site. But anyways, the wires are in there and we gotta, pack them back into the back once we make them all up. And what we're trying to do is keep them away from the front, so when the sheetrockers come through and they cut their holes, depending on how they cut it, sometimes they're not very careful about what's going on behind the wall and they just, that's another subject for another time. But anyways, so my idea was just to have something just to cram in there and just to push all the wires back at one time. So perfect thing for a 3D printed object. So I'm going to go over to the computer, I'm going to open up Fusion 360, I'm going to show you around a little bit, and I'm just going to create it. I'm no expert, I've been learning this as well, but maybe I'll give you a tip or something you might see, or maybe you can correct me and we'll just learn something. But either way, I'm going to design something, I'm going to print it, and I'm going to take it to work tomorrow, and we're going to see if it really works. Let's go over to the computer. Okay, so let's get Fusion 360 open. Once again, if you don't have Fusion 360, it is a free software to hobbyists. As long as you don't make over a certain amount a year, you can download it and use it for free. No problems. So anyways, let's go ahead and we're going to well, first off, I need to get some measurements. Got my fancy ruler here, and I'm just going to take a couple quick little measurements, and I'm going to say, let's go 52 by 90, and that's basically, I'm just going to start, just get my first shape, and that's what's going to go inside. So what I'm going to start out with a sketch. I'm going to create a sketch, and I'm going to create it right on the top plane. Boom. Basically considering that the build plate. It's going to start printing just like this, theoretically. So I'm going to start with a rectangle. I'm going to use hotkeys throughout this, and I will say what they are, and you can use them, or you can just go up to the menu here for sketch and select one of the items in which I'm going to state what I'm going to use. But R is the hotkey for rectangle, and if you go over here, it gives you a different style of rectangles you can choose. I'm going to choose the center style, so wherever I go, it'll use that as my center point. So we're going to go 52, and I'll tab over to 90, hit enter, boom, done. Okay, now we need to get this notch, top and the bottom. So let's call it, and once again, I'm not trying to get an exact fit, I'm just looking to get it in so it doesn't get stuck and it'll come out, but it'll still pack the wires in there. Well, I'm going to call it 10 millimeters. So if I create a circle with a hotkey of C, go right, line it right up in the center, and we're going to call that 10 millimeters. I think I need to bring that down. So in order to move that, I'm kind of highlighting that constraint right there, and I'm deleting it, and that'll allow me to move. Scroll back out. Let's see, I'm going to measure down from the center of that, and we're going to want that about, I'm going to say 8. So I'm going to hit the D for dimensions. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to select that guy and that guy. I got to do some math here. So half is 5, and we want it 8. We want it 8 minus the 5, call it 3. That looks a little bit better. Next, what I'll do is I'm going to take a line and I'll connect it so it's parallel right to there, just to kind of square out these edges. Now if you notice, like I'm zooming in here, see how I got that dotted little line? That's just a little reference line saying that I'm lined up with that point. So that looks kind of good like that. Now I could just go down and just draw the same thing just like that on the other side, but I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I'm going to create a line. I'm going to use the hotkey L. I'm going to go over here and make it a construction line. I'm going to put one dead center right across. And you'll see why I'm doing that here in a second. Escape out of that. Okay, so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to just highlight those areas if I can, and I'm going to create in the sketch, I'm going to mirror it. Yes, my mirror line is going to be that construction line I just created, and looky looky, it's all done right down there. Sweet. Now I should be able to just do some extrusion here. So I'm going to hit the E for extrude. I'm going to highlight the area I want, and now let's take a look here real quick. Overall depth, which I won't need to go. I need to at least get it back. I'm going to say that the whole thing overall by the end of this is going to be about 60. So in order to give that some girth and some stability, we're going to go, I'm going to say 15 millimeters. Done. Look at that. Now, just to kind of clean this portion of it up a little bit, let's do a couple fillets. I'm going to use the F key, and I'm just kind of highlight a couple of my little areas that I want. You do the corners. Fusion will allow you to kind of select a surface through the actual model if you just highlight just right, just like this, as you see. Boom and boom. Let's go probably just 2 millimeters. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so far so good. So next we're gonna see, my thought was I could just like grab a hold of it and kind of like just push it in there. So maybe like 2 fingers, just kind of push my fingers in and just shove it in there. So let's create a sketch on the side here. I'll show you why. Well, we're going to create a sketch, and I'm going to select that surface, which, so we kind of see it'll be right in the center, okay? Alright. So now I'm going to go, just to kind of get an idea of my finger width, so I know how big I need to, I'm going to say probably like 25, maybe 30. Big fingers, big fingers. So let's go with 2 circles. A circle, call it 30, and another one. Just gonna kind of just put them out there in space, and we'll kind of line them up here in a second. Alright, so I can kind of free float them as it is. So we went 15 with this, and then this will be 30, so that's 45. I said an overall of 60. That leaves me 15 to work with. So let's go line these two up. We're going to line them up, period. We'll take those two, I'm highlighting them by using the control button, and I'm just clicking on the two centers. They're both highlighted. I'm going to go over here and click on horizontal. They're lined up. No matter where I put, they're going to be horizontal with each other. So now let's go give some dimensions, kind of line these guys up. So from the center to this guy to that guy, let's call it 20. And then from here to that guy, we'll call that 20. That's looking good. Let's go from here to here. See, half of 30 is 15, and we said we wanted 7.5. Call it 15 plus 7.5. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take a rectangle and just kind of give it some shapes here. Something like that. Go back to dimensions with the D. From here to here. 22.5. That looks so good. Might be a little bit too long, it looks like, for sure. Let's reduce these two distances down. Let's take 3 millimeters off each side. That's good. Let's take these guys, bring them into there. How did you get planted there? Don't know. But we're going to give this a distance from here to here. We'll call that 2 millimeters. Do the same over here. Alright, well, like I said, this isn't exactly the way you should be doing it, but this is the way I'm doing it. It's just a little gadget. I'm just messing around here, seeing if it's gonna work. Alright, so now I'm gonna do a little extrude. I'm gonna select that. Now this guy here, I'm actually gonna go in a 2 direction, 2 sides. Let's go symmetric overall, and we're gonna call that, let's see, I'm just getting an idea here. Let's call it 25. Nice. All right, now let's make it a little bit more ergonomic. I'm gonna do some fillets. Hotkey of F. Select a couple surfaces. Oh yeah, that's looking a little bit. Oh, you know what? Actually, before I do that, let's take these guys. I just canceled out of that before I hit that enter and everything went. Let's go something like that. Sure. Now let's go. It's another flat. I'm gonna go on the insides of these round surfaces. Alright, let's do some more on the outside of this guy, see what we can obtain. What's it gonna look like? That looks alright. Let's do another flat on this whole surface here. Let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. That's pretty. I'm gonna leave the bottom flat, just like that. Now, the only other thing is I'm gonna actually want to print this. So yeah, I'm gonna have to print it like this. Oh, why are you doing that? Yeah, trying to get things to move exactly the way you want them in Fusion. So yeah, I'm gonna print it in this orientation. So I'm gonna have to get some support material, probably in these guys. But before I print the whole thing, what I'm going to want to do is I'm just going to print a little bit, and then I'll stop it. Actually, I'll just print a little bit, and then it'll stop by itself. And I'll test fit it, and if everything fits all right, then I'll print the whole thing. If not, we'll make a little tweaks and go from there. So I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to save it as an STL. Let's call this a Box Stomper. Yeah? Yeah. In fact, I like that name, the Box Stomper. Okay, the only other thing I am going to do is let's open up 3D Builder, and once again, if you don't do this, it is a very good practice. Even if you create the models yourself, it's a good idea just to go through a program and check it. So I use 3D Builder, and that's what I'm going to use. There it is, fully imported. I get no errors. Good to print. So let's bring up a printer. I think we'll use the anycubic kossel for this particular project. We'll warm it up, but I gotta slice it first. I use Simplified 3D. Use my Qbert profile, and for this, let's go with 15% infill, 3 shells, 4 bottoms, 4 tops, 2.8 millimeter layer height, 40 millimeters per second. I'll be using a skirt, a honeycomb, fast honeycomb infill, and let's bring the model in. The Box Stomper. Okay, let's see what's what. I just want to see how the whole thing's going to take. Let's orientate it the right way. Control L, select the surface, center it, support material from the build plate only, generate, let's go all, make them a little smaller, make them a little smaller. I don't know about this area right here, why it won't put support in there. Unless I go all the way down to 1. We're going to go there. 3 hours and 21 minutes. But before we go back, let's just do the first. Go to advanced. We'll start at 0, and I'm going to go to 5 millimeters. It's just going to give me a portion just to test fit inside the box. That'll take about 53 minutes. Let's lower the infill a little bit just so it'll go a little faster. No supports. Try this again. Save it to Qbert. Let's adjust this camera view. And let's print. Okay, while that's printing, we're just gonna watch it. Ready for the time lapse? Here we go. Wow, that was quick. Alright, it looks like the test part has printed. Pop it off the build plate real quick. Got my box here. Let's give it a little test fit. Ooh. It's a little tight. Pretty good on them measurements, but a little too tight. So I'll take a little bit off those measurements, and then we'll just go ahead and reprint the whole thing. I'm thinking probably 3 millimeters. Let's go there. Alright, so here we are back in Fusion real quick. So I'll just go back to my original sketch. I'll right click on it in my timeline and edit. And let's see, so we're gonna take 3mm off of that, so we're gonna call that 87 I should say. 87, and we'll take 3mm off of that for 49. And stop the sketch as long as, so we do have one thing that failed right here. Let's take a peek at that. We'll edit that feature, and looks like we forgot a little corner right there and right there. Oh, it's not gonna let me fix it. Let's do, I think I need to move these guys a little bit closer. Let's go with 15. 15. Too much. 16. 16. Hey, I like that. And look, it fixed. It fixed it down in the sketch. Alright, so I will re-export this. The Box Stomper. And let's, once again, we will check it with 3D Builder. All looks good. Bring it back over to Simplify 3D. Let's bump it back up to 15% infill, and at that point we'll just let it print. The Box Stomper. Now we did say we were going to turn it. We will rotate it, and the only reason I'm doing this is because I want the stability of the strength, so as I'm pushing and pulling, I'm not pulling on the layer lines like this. They'll actually be against me, against the grain. If that makes sense, I'm just thinking this all thing through. Probably ain't needing all this extra time and material, but it's gonna print while I'm sleeping. And oh, I gotta cancel back in my process in advance. Delete that, start, stop at 0. I gotta enable the supports, add the supports. We're gonna go normal, lower it all the way down to 1. Looks like it should be alright. Good to go. Send it away to the printer. It's going to take 3 hours plus. So let's send it off to the printer. Okay, well, we're going to get this thing printed. Once it's done, it'll be the next day. Now I'm going to take it to work and we're going to test it out. Stay tuned. Alright, it looked like it printed up real good. I printed another one over there just in case. Maybe I'll get the apprentice working today. Okay, I'm going to take these off the build plate and then I got to get to work. boys. You guys want to stomp some boxes? Got some box stompers.
That's cool. It's not the 3D printer.
The box stomper.
Okay.
4 each.
This is the pack boxes, huh?
4 going through. 4 going through, but then there's 2 in the track. The whole wall.
Let's check it out.
Those ones are easy.
In the hands of an apprentice. In the hands of a journeyman.
The boss is coming. Look busy.
So there you have it, the Box Stomper, available at www.insidethemindofmat.com. 4 easy payments of $4.99 plus shipping and handling.
STL available upon request.
No, just kidding. Just proof that with an idea, a 3D printer, you can go home, design something up, next day, you got something functioning at work. If you like this video, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. If you have, thank you very much. Check out all the links I got down in the description on ways that you can save money, do some shopping, and directly support the channel. But keep on coming back because there's going to be more inside the Mind of Matt. Happy printing, be safe pouring. Peace.